If your pinks ever look dull or heavy instead of light and glowing, it is usually not the pigment, it is the water. I will show you a simple two-step method for translucent petals. A pale fresh layer, then a deep touch at the center while the paper is still damp. So let's paint. We're gonna start by wetting the petals on this flower. And I'm gonna be using Rhodonite Genuine, which it is a variation, Daniel Smith variation of permanent rose. If you have permanent rose, go ahead and use it. Gonna start very pale, so we're gonna let the paper do the work. This keeps the light coming through with the white of the paper. So I apply a very, as wet, and a very pale layer of my permanent rose. Doing this and this other petal because they are not touching, and this way I'm allowing this fresh petal to lose a little bit of the shine before I come back with more color. So this is a repetition, same color as I did there, pale. And remember, watercolor always lights lighter than what you see right now. And now I come back with thicker paint, less water. In order for the paint to be thicker, it means that I have less water on it. And then we're gonna come here at the center and we're gonna put some of that. If you need to, you can go with the tip of this brush, which is pretty much damp. It doesn't carry a lot of water, and you can help it this blend a little bit more. This is optional. If you want this to happen, fine. If not, just the way it is good too. Finally, if you want to do it, you can go one tag more, meaning more paint and less, even less water, and put it only on this very tip of the petal. And now we build light, medium, and dark of the same tone, and we are keeping all the transparency of our petals. That is okay if not every single petal has the same intensity. It's okay, the some. As a matter of fact, let's just do this one lighter, okay? While you are allowed that to dry, then you can go ahead to dry it slightly. Then you can go ahead and start working on your next one. Come with a thicker, less water, variation of the same color, and apply it at the bottom of the petal. Do the same thing on the other one since I have it already in my brush. Important thing is don't bring all the color to the top. You want to have the transparency that we were talking about. And then get it one more time, very, very thick. This is going to be how you paint. That's going to be the thicker, and put that one right away here at the very center. Okay, and then do the same thing. We do the same thing here. So while our flower dries, let me show you what not to do. So I wet a little bit of my petal. Let's pretend that this is a petal. Then they go right away with a lot of paint. If you go with a lot of paint, because you're thinking, oh, that's how I see it. You do, and it's, yeah, it looks really pink, but it's stopping some of the white of the paper to come through. And it doesn't matter if you made this the light, and then you come with less water and you put something more over here, kind of trying to do the same technique as you did what we did before. Darkest part, that you cannot go any darker than this. So sometimes I had to come and get a little bit of blue in order to make it, and then that's when you can put the darkest, the medium, and the light. But as you can see, you see how this is more chucky, and this one has the more transparent, more like the delicacy of a flower. It's better to go with less and to build slowly than not to go right away for the kill. For the second flower, I want to make it a little bit more peachy. How do you make peach color? This is another one that I encountered a lot Well, get the same permanent rose or genuine rhodonite like I'm using, whichever color you use. And let's just call it permanent rose just for the sake of being the color that most people have. You get that. Then you add a little bit of your primary yellow, whichever you're using. This is magenta yellow light. And then it depending on how much yellow you put, you will get a more or less type of peachy. More of a yellow or more on the pinky part. It's more on the yellow. You want to get it more on the pinky part, then you can put it a little bit more pinky by adding more pink. Now, let's just do this flower on that because it's going to make our bouquet look more pretty by having the variation of the color. Again, I'm going with the water. I like to water my petals first because that way I have less chances that that I will have hard lines. What happens, will you say, if what happens if it gets too pale once it dries? Because watercolor, after all, dries lighter. Well, I rather, let's just go move. This one is too touching that one, so I'm skipping one, okay? Like I was saying, I rather get this one to dry and then go a second time, then I go from the get-go and then go too dark and kill all the luminosity that it will come from my paper. So I'm gonna make this one purposely too light, okay? And then I will show you how once it dries, it's gonna dry even lighter, how we can fix it by coming back. Using the same mix but with less water. That one over there is ready to put our center. So let's just go here in the center. And again, just with the tip of my brush, I blend a little. Now, I'm trying to get a little bit thicker. I had to mix it to put the darker one. There we go. Here at the center, very, very center. Myself another mix, a little bit stronger. This mix, less water, just same colors, less water. This is kind of like a 50-50 of both colors. And then we go right there in the middle. Let's just make it a little bit wider there. Tip of my brush, blend, and come over here one more time. Get a little bit more color and even less water. And then do it just right at the center. All right, while this one dries, I'll wait for this one to dry. I'm gonna go ahead and do this other two. Now remember the one that we did too pale purposely? Well, if something happens like that, how do we fix it? It is better to go back again with water. Go with water. Get our pale mix of the color, in this case is the peach. Then I spread it, put in a second layer of the same color. Then I still allow the luminosity of the bottom to come through. Now I come a little bit with my mix. You see the difference of doing 2 times instead of doing it 1 time from the get-go? You see how these ones look chunky and these ones look luminous? That's what we want. I have one last flower to do. I don't want because I'm doing this delicate flower, so I'm going with my kneaded eraser and I'm making my pencil lines be a little bit lighter. I wet. Okay. Then I bring the peachy color, pale, okay? And then we put it on the top over here. And now, here, I get only the permanent rose. That has to be pale. That one is too strong. And now we put that one here at the bottom. Almost dry, my bottom here almost dry, so I'm coming back with water. All right, so we have a transition, and at one point, both of these colors blend. And our flower petal, our petal here is gonna look having a little bit of both. Intense pink, and let's just put it Oops, that's too intense. Get a little bit more water. Let's get it here in the middle. Get with just the tip of my brush and do some blending. Now you see how I'm picking the color and pushing it up. We don't want that. Then just go in the opposite direction, and then you keep it over there. Nice. And now, this time with a very, very thick color, let's put one here in the middle. All right, same thing as I did there, I just came slightly higher in that one. Why not? And just to finish the painting, I like to have some white around the center of these flowers. I'm gonna use some wax to repel, but you can do it in different ways. You can use this, or if you don't have a wax crayon, then one thing that you can do is just paint it and then go with white paint, or you can also mask it with masking fluid, however you prefer. Just got a little too much right there. It doesn't show what I'm doing right now, but you will see it once I apply paint. I go with neutral tint. I have neutral tint here, but I think that I also have Payne's Gray. So either or a combination of both. Make it thick enough. We want to go dark in this case for the center. And then we want to go ahead and put them on. And then some of them I want to go inside the petals. And then right away with my dump brush, I don't want to spread it everywhere, but I want to be a little bit less sharp, the ones that got inside the petal. Okay, let's just come from here and do the same thing. Now we are connected because all the petals have been kind of separated. All right, the center is going to be black. One thing that I want to do is I got the dark, and now I rinse and I bring my permanent rose, but very thick, and then we bring a little bit of that around here too, because some of that color of the flower will come at the center as well. All right, I'm not trying to make a perfect circle or anything like that. I'm just filling this up, and now I'm gonna drop a little bit of water. What we are trying to accomplish here is getting impressions of centers of the flowers. So I'm waiting a little bit over there, random, I don't know where it went. That's better. I know that the center needs to be dark, so I'm coming with my what am I using? I'm using Payne's Gray. All right, I'm gonna bring some of that a little bit outside. Let's get some of the peach pinky color around here too. Remember, I put some wax, so in some places it won't take, and that's fine. That's kind of what we wanted. All right, and back to our dark. Needs to have some over here. Again, impressions, okay? Impressions are always better than trying to paint every single one of them. It doesn't matter what you paint, if it is flowers, trees, anything, feathers. All right, this one actually came a little too dark, so let's fix this. First, I'm gonna wet and just dumping some water, and I'm gonna let it get inside the paint because it's almost dry. And then with a little bit of paper, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna collect some of that color. All right. If you had to do it, it's better that you do it again, not going back and forth, just dropping some water. This is how to fix a mistake. 101. All right, so I'll let it soak. And then let's find another white area like this. Let's put it over there, push, and we lift even more. And now that I'm happy with it, what I'm gonna do is come with I'm coming with white paint, and I'm gonna put a couple places. I feel like the wax here didn't work as well as it did in the other one, so let's just put a couple of white things. It's a little too separated, so let's just bring these two together. Okay, let's get a little bit of the thicker, less water paint, and come with a little bit of water. Maybe I can do a little bit of that here too. This is okay, this is okay. I'm just gonna bring some over here just to connect them. Okay, some of my greens from my palette, most of them are either olive greens or sap greens, so picking some of those, and we're gonna go ahead and start putting some of these to finish this painting. However, one of the things that you can already see from here is how we control the water. More water, less water, and that's how they give us that luminosity. Okay, I'm not trying to go too precious here, just light, just bring some of this, putting it all together into a painting. I'm going fast meaning I'm not trying to put every little detail. And that's how our painting remains fresh. By fresh, it means it has movement, it doesn't feel heavy or overworked. You can still see the white of the paper coming through. Just put a couple little leaves maybe here too. All right, and this goes this way. Let's just put like it's coming around here. Color, water. I'm doing this kind of with what is called the dried on wet, meaning dry paper, and obviously the wet is always the wet of the painting, okay, or the paint, excuse me. You can do it like that, or you could, actually you could have also done it wet on wet, meaning wetting the paper fresh. Doesn't matter as much here, because we want a solid line, while over here, yes, it did matter a lot more. So our painting is done. And by the way, this works with any pink, any red, because it's not about the color, okay? It is about the water. The goal is always the same. You need to let the shine of the paper come through. And if you do that, you have luminosity, you have freshness, and then you have beautiful paintings. And this is the finishing painting. The secret to luminous pinks and peachy petals is keeping the first wash very light, and then placing our darks right at the center while it still is wet. I hope that you learned something on this video, and if you want me to do more flower videos or a different subject, just let me know in the comments. As always, I thank you for being here, and I will see you in my next video.